Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Range podcast with Warhog Tactical and Kelley Defense. Wherever you are, thank you for making this part of your day. We are live, legit live on a great American tradition, Election Day, the general election for the President of the United States 2024. I am Mark Kelley, joined as always with my co-host and friend, Rick Hogg from Warhog Tactical. How's it going, buddy?
Man, Mark, it is going great. Like you said, it is a fine American day to basically execute our civic duties as Americans, not as illegals, not as unborns, as Americans to vote in this presidential election. However, you can't always just look at just the presidential election, right? Depending on what state you're in, you've got some other things going on. You'll have some local elections. You may have some other either House or Senate races in there as well. Gubernatorial, because I'll be glad to get Governor Cooper out of North Carolina because that dude is a waste. But dude, here's the bottom line. Great state of North Carolina. We voted, and it'll be interesting to see this evening, not only in the regular presidential election, but to reform our state constitution to where now you have to be a citizen and 18 years of age to vote in the great state of North Carolina. It should pass, right? It's a shame the federal government didn't want to do it. All the Dems basically said nay to the SAFE Act. Unbelievable, un-American. But here's the thing, guys, right? It's our civic duty to get out there and vote. And at the end of the day, you can't sit there and cry over the spilt milk one way or another if you never went out and vote. So I am predicting record numbers of people are going to come out. My lean, right? And I think, we talked about this as far as, Trump being on the Joe Rogan podcast. The pollsters, they're always going to tell you 49, whatever, right? And it's kind of smart where mainstream media isn't going to start broadcasting anything till I think around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock this evening, So we should have a pretty good idea at that point who's going to be our next president. I got to tell you this, man. You just look at the two candidates, and all you have to do is just ask yourself one simple question. Are you better today than you were 4 years ago? And here's the shocking thing, man. Put up, had a little short clip from a Warhog Words of Wisdom that went out there. And I was surprised. There was people going, well, 4 years ago, I had COVID. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, good Lord, man. Okay, whatever. Right. But I'm looking forward personally to see Trump back in the White House and get things changed for the right way. And here's the beauty. We can say that, right? Because I'm entitled to my opinion. We've seen too much censorship on this. We've seen too much mainstream media pumping all this propaganda. And we've seen all these celebs, I think Oprah's the latest culprit. She's a child peddling freaking trafficker anyway. But she was old buddy with Trump's, years ago. And now she's out there cutting his throat going, man, if he gets in office, it's the end of the world. We're all no voting rights, no this. It's like, dude, you can't change the Constitution right there. If you guys haven't seen it or read it, the Constitution of the United States, there's rights in there, right? It just doesn't get abolished. It doesn't go away. Well, how come the Dems have not taken our firearms from us? They might put restrictions, yes, but they can't take them because it's constitutionally guaranteed by the second, shall not be infringed. So I just say all that to go, hey, the right to vote is protected in the Constitution as well. And ladies, you're only about 100 years of voting. So make sure you get out there and get your vote on.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the state of Ohio, a big sign where I was at casting my vote along with Mama Kelley Defense, big sign, only U.S. citizens and residents of the state of Ohio are allowed to vote. Mm-hmm. ID must be shown. So good for Ohio on that.
Yeah. So North Carolina finally stepped up. We had to show IDs this year.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey, welcome to the club, buddy.
Yeah. So about time, right? Like I tried to show it last time. They're like, we don't need to see it. I was like, just look at it for me, would you? So we took ours a step further, right? The IDs that we took, both me and the missus, we took our U.S. passports. Let there be no doubt that we are U.S. citizens. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and
Yeah.
it's premise and case, right? And it's funny because they had a sample ballot up um, right before you went in to go vote. They'd already had boxes checked. Really? Take your stupid check marks off.
Did they?
Huh?
They
Oh,
did.
they did. They had the
Wow.
wrong people on there, right? Like you're trying to convince me to go, oh, what?
Yeah.
Circles for freaking old
Yeah.
comrade Kamala? Give me a break, man. Right?
Yeah. Hey.
Um, but it's comical, dude. It's just how far these people will go. And what was even funnier was I don't know how they got my number, but old comrade Kamala and her crew sent me a text.
That's right. I saw that.
Yep. They wanted me to get on board and they were going to pay me money. I'm like, you could not pay me enough
No.
money there, comrade,
No.
to even say anything kind about you. And
Mhm.
it's it's amazing that when you start peeling back the onion and you really look at these two individuals, I just found this out today. When old comrade freaking ran for Senate in the state of California, she had no Republican opposition. How does that happen?
Hmm.
Right?
Well, when you're that good, buddy, people just know
Well,
not
when
to
you
even.
got when you got Soros and the rest of them backing you, right? I mean, it's personally, I can't stand politics, right? And
No.
and my drive to Trump is he's not a politician, right? And dude, you want to talk about lifting up the skirt? He lifted up the skirt on Rogan, man. I don't think
Mhm.
anyone ever really kind of deep dived in with him on some of those questions. But dude, what he know? He kind of went off of people's advice and bit him a little bit that first term.
Mhm.
But he hired and fired and did what he thought was right. But at the end of the day, man, it's just a good old boy crooked system. Um, and I think there needs to be more Trump-like people coming on board. Like I love seeing, the big influx in Congress of our veterans, man. I mean,
Mhm.
fantastic. Let's keep it going. Um, Guys that have no, per se political backgrounds beforehand, getting there and wanting to make change, and they're getting elected. And I would say, hey, continue. Look at what they stand for, and if it fits your values, by all means, go vote for them. But I'd say, hey, let's pack Congress full of veterans. Might be making some better decisions down the road.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, there's always bad lemons in any occupation or any
Sure.
force, but it does seem that it is tough to stay out of that sludge and have it envelop you and change people. It just does, man. It's dirty business. It seems like most people are not immune to that.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, just no excuse for it. It just seems that's just the way it is. It's dirty, man. It is
Yeah.
dirty. And the thing about this election that I mean, honestly, I still don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. I have a guess. But at the same time, I know we had this conversation for the last 2 elections. It's hard to believe, but this is the second one that we've been involved in with the OTR universe and being on the Range podcast, is the polls. I think you're
Hmm.
right. I think those guys are towing the 50-50 line. I don't think there's any way that could be the case. I just don't.
No.
It never has been. I mean, you've had tight races. You've
Sure.
had, but these swing states being that close, um, there was the poll that just came out not that long ago. This pollster who apparently has some really good credit to her name said that in Iowa that Kamala's got a huge lead, and then another poll came out and said, "Nah, Trump's like double digits that way, the exact opposite way." So
Yeah.
one of those folks is wrong. One of those folks is wrong. But I do think they are being smart about it because I think they don't feel they can take another hit. These are the pollsters,
Hmm.
professional pollsters in these companies. they're charging tons of money, like the president said on Joe Rogan, for these polls. They're charging all kinds of money for these,
Mhm.
and they're doing it all cycle, and
But
they don't
but see
see
here
if they can survive another catastrophe like 2016, and last election wasn't any better. And I think this one's going to be bad too. Whatever way it goes,
yeah.
either red or blue, whichever way it goes, I think it's going to be they're going to be so far off that they're not going to be able to survive it. We may have seen the last election where polls are read out to everybody all the time.
Why do we even have them?
I don't know.
Right? To be honest with you, I'm good with if you want to do approval ratings for the sitting president, right? People, hey, you can draw information from there. But when was the last time there was ever a truthful poll? Because the problem is, if you swing the poll one way or another, then somebody could argue, well, why even go out and vote? Right? Like to me, there
Yes.
shouldn't even be polls in that aspect, how you're doing, right? You can take a poll and go, hey, here's the top 3 things the American people care about. They care about the economy. They care about, border security, whatever else their thing is, right? And I find it hard to believe that abortion is such a huge topic, right? Because you want to sit there and go, well, it's my body, my choice. Well, where was everyone when they were trying to jab people with the freaking poison, right? And people are losing their jobs because the federal government said you will or else. So I find that hard to believe that's a hill that people are going to die on. And then you got old freaking stolen valor freaking Walls out there. He's got his Gestapo keeping people locked in during COVID. Yeah, they brought it out a little bit, right? But like, if abortion's your thing, he's like, yeah, in my state, you can go commit abortion up to the 9th month, right right until the baby's born. It's like, dude, have you lost your mind? Right? And he still won't, even when people ask him the hard question, he still won't say, yeah, that's the law. He tries to dodge it. Well, we want to bring Roe v. Wade back. What? You're violating even what Roe v. Wade says, I mean, it's mind boggling, these people and how they play dodgeball when it comes to hard questions.
Well, I can't remember in my adult life where I've seen blatant lies. I mean, they're always lies. They always
Yeah.
tell lies, but blatant lies about those types of things flat out. They're saying that Oprah, one of the last things she said in Philadelphia last night was, if he gets elected, he's going to take away all the rights of women or something to that effect. If you don't vote for Trump, well, they'll never be able to
You'll never vote
have
again.
all these. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody knows it's ridiculous, but they're saying it. Another thing too is all these things, a lot of the issues that you were just talking about, those are all already in the states and they've never been banned. They're not banned.
No. It's up
But
to your state.
They say it over and over and over.
Here's the part that kills me, right? Again, I'm going to refer back to the Constitution here of the United States. Okay. The Second Amendment gives us the right to keep and bear arms. Okay. Constitutionally guaranteed. There's no constitutional amendment about abortion, yet how come no one is up in arms when a state restricts a citizen's right on what they can and can't own? Right? So the same thing has been done with abortion, depending on your state. It's at the state level, right? So what are people complaining about? It's not like when Roe v. Wade went away that abortion, everyone thought that was the law of the land. No, it just passed down to the states for them to make the decisions.
Yeah.
So
that's another great point that you just bring up. Kamala said, I'm going to put it in that a federal law or he's going to amendment that's going to be protected in the Constitution. She can't do that. It's already been ruled on that it's going to go to the states. It's an absolute lie, but that's what she says. And it's all over these ads on the TV and in the internet.
But the problem is, Mark, the Constitution lays out clearly how to put amendments into the Constitution. Right? Now, granted, the Constitution has been changed since it was originally adopted, right? We've had changes to the amendments in there.
Yeah.
It can be done, but it's laid out how it's done. And it's sure not by the president going, oh, I'm going to make me a new amendment and just slap it in there.
No.
Sorry. That just
No.
goes to show old Comrade Kamala and her Marxist views. That's not how it works, girlfriend. You don't even understand the system that you work for. And it's just mind-boggling when you listen to these politicians, some of the things that comes out of their mouth. And I sit there and go, do you even know what the Constitution says? Is you even tracking with it? Right?
Well, I think she does, but she's betting that who she's reaching out to won't or doesn't.
Maybe.
That's what it's all about. It's all about getting votes. She may know. I think she knows exactly how it works, and she knows that she can't do it, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, you look at her, right? And the lies. Oh, I worked at McDonald's. So she grabs some picture of some other girl, photoshops it, and I guess somehow thinks that she's not going to get caught. And then it's like, you're cold busted. Right? It's just
stone cold busted, just like young MC said.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous when you look at it. Why lie? This is the part I don't get with the politicians is there's no reason to lie. Hey man, if you never worked at McDonald's, great. Like Trump can say, yeah, I worked at McDonald's. He's not lying. Hey man, I worked on a trash truck. He's not lying, right? Because he's actually gone out there and done it more than her. But I am fine with the politician changing their stance, barring they can tell me the why. So in Comrade's case, she was anti-fracking. Now she's for fracking. Well, what changed your mind? You know, you just don't say, it's kind of like Fetterman, old Fetterman bounced back and forth. Oh, I'm against fracking. I'm for fracking. Against for I think it's fracking. I don't even know what I'm for. Where's my sweatshirt? It's like, dude, if you want to swap, fine. Hey, upon more education of the subject, yes, I was against X, but now I'm for this, and here's why. Boom. I mean, not a big deal. It's okay to change. But where I have the problem, Mark, is I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not a fan of our two-party system, right? Because it's almost like you're either all in or you're all out. So the Dems have this, this is where, our stands. Well, who are you, right? If my constituents say X, that's what you should be voting on, right? Not personally. It's got nothing to do with your personal beliefs. You are the voice of the people, and this is where I've got problems with these career politicians. Well, I think this and I think that. No way, dude. There should never be an I whenever you're speaking. The people of North Carolina's 7th district says X. Roger that. You should be engaging with your constituents, delivering the mail, not just, fat lining your pockets with cash because you're all crooked. Probably the only job where you can go in there, have everything paid for you, and then it'll walk out freaking multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem right.
So I know you early voted, just to change gears just a little bit. Since this is November 5th, Election Day, also the anniversary that Marty McFly went to Hill Valley. So those who know. But also my brother's birthday. Happy birthday to my brother. Anyway, I usually early vote as well. Typically, this is the first time in a few years that I've not early voted. And I went, game day today. And I didn't see a whole lot of folks. I know that we have a big afternoon group that goes right after work in my particular district, but there wasn't a whole lot of people there. And that begs the question, because you believe at the beginning of the show that you say, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, there's a lot of excitement here, is that there's going to be a record number of folks that turned out. I think there was 154 million, I think, voted last year or last general election for the president. And you think that there's going to be a big turnout. And I'm wondering, because it just doesn't seem to be a ton of excitement on the Democratic side of the house. It just doesn't seem like a lot of excitement to go out and vote for Kamala Harris. What do you think about that? And do you believe that the extra numbers that turn out are going to be for the President Trump's vote?
100% they are.
Okay.
So two things. I think you saw the big increase in early voting because you saw
almost 80 million.
Yeah, because you saw, right, even with early voting, you saw election interference with law enforcement officers stopping. Oh, the lines, cut. No.
Yeah.
Now you want to post that officer, hey, it's now 4:30 and I'm standing here. Sorry, no more voters. And you let the rest cycle through that's already in line, right? That's the way it's supposed to work. But I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people were worried about having their rights infringed from that aspect. And plus, you want to get out there and cast it knowing that this is a huge pivotal moment. And
it's a big election. It's a big election for sure.
It's a huge election, right? So let's think about this. In my opinion, the wind was out of the Dem sails right after the Biden-Trump debate, right? Sorry, Uncle Joe fell flat on his face. And then, you see all the backdoor backstabbing with the Dems, right? So you got the in-house fighting amongst themselves, basically boot Joe out. He becomes lame duck. You want to slap old freaking comrade in there. No voting process for her, right? Typically the incumbent, he's going to go up there, do his thing. There's no other Dems that even had a chance to battle against her, to get the vote. Never came out with a formal press conference, like it was the constant trying to use Joe's strategy of hiding in the basement, because whenever she opened up her mouth, it was just word salad. It's like,
she stick her foot in her mouth every time she opened
every single time. What are you going to do for the economy? Well, it's going to be what was her word? Opportunity economy. Well, what the hell does that mean? Right? like okay, don't we have opportunity in this country?
Yes.
But what's that got to do with the economy? Right? Because the economy is where it's at because of you, the federal government, over the last 4 years of all your overspending, of you letting 25 plus million illegals in that we were forking the bill for, right? Where you cut off our energy independence day one of your administration, right? Like all these things, they fall in line. And here's the bottom line, Mark. The American people are not stupid.
No.
And regardless whether you're registered, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what does your checkbook look like? And that's what this election is going to boil down on, right? It has only gotten worse over the last 4 years. And when Trump sits there and goes, hey, man, he's going to cut energy, costs by 50%, 50, within the first year, I believe it, right? Because he's going to get that energy independence going, which in turn has a trickle-down effect over everything. So,
dude, I think you're right. I think economy, border, crime, those are the things that in general, I don't necessarily believe that these clowns have much to do with my daily life, right?
Nope.
Most of the time, they don't have really 99% of the time, they don't have anything to do with it. But when you jack up the economy, especially take away that energy independence that we had almost immediately when Trump got in there, and I believe that would be the same again. Once you take away something like that and you start throwing money into the economy the way they did. Now, look, COVID was a special circumstance. I don't think anybody has all the right answers on that. However, at some point you can shut the faucet off, and I believe that some of these interest rates on some of the homes, they needed to come down a little bit, or go up a little bit. They did. That was not sustainable. But anyway, people feel this right now, and you can vote with your feelings. You can vote on some of these issues that the federal government that we've been talking about several times at the beginning of the show shouldn't have anything to do in your decision making. I totally agree with that.
Mhm.
But that's not the hill that we need to be dying on when it comes to this presidential election. And I think, like you said, they're smart, and most of them, understand that. But for Kamala Harris to go up there to Pennsylvania and start talking about that stuff when they shut it down, almost immediately shut it down,
Mhm.
all those jobs lost, all that energy gone, all that the economy, all that money coming into that part of the country. It's hard for me to understand why this is anything but a easy decision, especially in that part of the country.
I think anywhere in the country, right?
Yeah,
Because number one, she's given us nothing for a plan. She talks about this um, opportunity economy, which nobody even knows what the hell that means, right? And then
she
she's
doesn't
going to
know what it
stop.
means.
Yeah, and then she's going to stop the big company price gouging. Price
Oh, dude,
gouging, what? Right?
no,
Like, do you even understand price gouging or what that definition even means?
no,
And no, she doesn't. Right? So what? You're going to come in and go tell farmer X that he can only sell his eggs for a
right.
dollar a dozen? What, are you going to subsidize them? Right? That's the only way you're going to do it. Either that or you're going to shut it all down so you can sell it to the Chinese. Right? Like,
Yeah,
there's all these things when you step back that the American people, and especially this day and age, right? Not a super fan of big tech technology. All that stuff is manipulated. We all know it. However, you can find out some information fairly quick. And I guarantee, just like with that picture of old Kamala saying she worked at McDonald's, somebody probably ran it through some AI software and pulled up going, well, who's this girl here? Right?
yeah. I
I,
think
I,
Elon Musk and his team came up with that almost immediately.
yeah.
They were able to look into metadata and saw that it was modified.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But my whole point is you can't, I'm a pro in that aspect, right? You can't hide the truth. But then again, you've got to at least have a plan. If you're going to be the president of the United States and somebody asks you a question, you can't sit there and word salad and never give an answer, right? You listen to Trump, right? Could you imagine Kamala trying to go um, on Rogan?
no,
He'd eat her alive.
no,
Now,
yes,
I think I think Fetterman went on there, and I didn't get a chance to hear that one. That ought to be interesting because I think he was flapping around or floundering, right? But my point being is he went on there for 3 hours and rolled with the punches, man. Gave
mhm,
solid answers, talked about a bunch of stuff. Um, and she can't even answer a question. Hey, what are you going to do for the economy? Doesn't even know where to start.
no,
You know?
no, absolutely not. She has no idea what she's talking about. She has no idea what any of these things are. It's just apparent. Now, do I? No, but that's why someone like Trump is just like Ronald Reagan. He
Mhm.
always had really smart people around him all the time that knew what the heck they were doing.
Yeah.
They don't even talk about that stuff. She has no idea what the plan is, and she doesn't care.
No,
She
because
absolutely doesn't care.
somebody's going to tell her what the plan is, right? Like she's just
Yes.
the puppet. And
Yep.
and it's apparent because all she can do is do that stupid ass chuckle of hers
Mhm.
and not give a straight answer, or
No.
or she'll do the anti Donald Trump, right? Oh, Trump's going to
Yeah.
do this, and Trump's going to kill democracy. Well, we're a constitutional republic, girlfriend, but that's here nor there. We won't argue that point. But how many times did that woman say Donald Trump, Donald Trump,
Oh, dude.
right?
Dude.
I
You
mean,
know another thing too about those exact points that you were talking about. Every time that she is speaking, every time that she is speaking, that is the only thing that they are arguing about. They're arguing against him. They're not saying why it's for us. And people know that.
mhm,
People understand that when you hear arguments about, well, this person was mean to, when he was a business owner, he was mean to his employees. Okay, that's your opinion. Where's the the legal um, updates to what those cases turned out to. Were there any case? They don't care. They just want to throw negative things out there.
Mhm.
And I just don't think people are buying it. And people are tired of hearing about it. That doesn't tell me anything.
No.
That doesn't tell me anything.
You know, Charlie Kirk, I mean, he would sit there and do those little things at the college campuses, right?
Mhm.
And you know, he was talking to this one girl. And she's like, "Well, Trump's a racist." And he's like, "Okay, can you give me an example?" It's like crickets, crickets, you know, or you got those people that go, "Well, I'm voting for Kamala." Cool. Why? Eh, Nothing, right? I mean, we can't be.
How about what the ones where the guy's like, okay, fair enough, appreciate your honesty.
Mhm.
What's the best thing or the favorite thing of yours that she did while she's been vice president?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
Cricket. Nobody knows because she hasn't done anything.
No. No.
If she
The
had
only
some
thing.
great accomplishments, bro, she'd be saying them all day long.
Oh yeah,
She's
but
got nothing.
she got zip. The only thing she has to her credit is 25 plus million illegals. Um, what's the number? 380,000 children trafficked by her administration, right? And nobody bats an eye.
No.
So, and then it's even funny because like she goes, "Well, I'm the only candidate that's battled the international cartels." And it's like, dude, listen to some of her old previous, and here again, technology, people pulling up old dirt. When she was the attorney general for California, you know, there was this whole thing talking about her records. Oh, I prosecuted hundreds of cases. Well, hundreds turned to 50. 50 went to 30. Well, you know, I got a couple on the docket. Right? Like, it was just like started chopping. And I'm like, why are you lying? This day and age, it's gonna come out, right? Like
Yeah.
you've got a sound bite somewhere, your history somewhere. You're
Oh,
gonna
dude.
get nipped. You're gonna get nipped in the butt.
Yeah.
So just be true to who you are and just run with it, right? But it's the lies, and then it's not telling me how you're gonna do anything for me. I mean, then she tried to play the sexist card. Here's the thing. There has been some powerful women leaders. I'm going to throw one
Oh,
out
for
there.
sure.
I'm going to throw one out there that distinctly rings the bell for me, and that's old freaking Margaret Thatcher, right?
Mhm.
So if you think back to May 1980 at the Iranian embassy over there in London, you know, she wanted when the SAS did their raid, she wanted daylight so people could see.
Yes.
You know, she's like, mess with us over here and see what happens. And she goes, I got 3 letters for you. SAS. And you're like, okay, right? Like
Mhm.
there has been powerful women leaders. So you can't throw that one out there because you're not a powerful woman leader. Bottom line, you know, you're not going to magically pull some superpowers right before the election. Your track record shows, your time as VP shows. You couldn't even freaking tighten up the border when you were the border czar. Well, I wasn't really the border czar. It's like you keep dodging, you know, when anything's thrown your way. How about just go, yeah, drop the ball. Screw that one up. Right? People would have more respect for you, you know?
Yep.
But man, it's crazy. And then the thing is, Mark, I think at the end of the day, the American people are smart enough to see through some of that freaking rubbish, right?
Oh,
Now,
absolutely.
now the celebs that endorse, right? Are you endorsing? Right. So let's be an honest broker.
Oh, dude.
You're an entertainer, right? Are you on the take? I don't know. Do you truly believe that? I don't know. You know?
I've had some thoughts about these types of things, and I'm just like anyone else. I believe that they absolutely have their opinion.
Sure.
They can say whatever they want. They can endorse whoever they want. They can appear wherever they want.
Sure.
There are I believe that there should be the consequences are. Look, I can enjoy someone's talents, someone's art, and how
Mhm,
good they are about it,
mhm.
and know that I am not going to take what that person says to guide my life in any
No,
form or fashion.
nope.
Okay. But at the same time, if someone makes an endorsement, I don't think anything less of their talent. I'm not going to never go see their movies or anything like that. But sometimes I do put my foot down on certain things about certain companies. Having said that, I think that is another good point about the endorsement of these celebrities, public figures. They're not like they don't hold the water that they used to have. They just don't. I think a lot of these things that come out, and what type of people these folks actually are, or that they're just filthy rich and they can't possibly have the same concerns that I have.
It
All those
they
things that come out about what type of people they actually are, I think people are smart enough to say, because they see it all the time on the interwebs and everything about
they
what kind of people they actually are. They can say, yeah, I'm not listening to this person on who I'm going to vote for.
no, because let's look at Hollywood as a prime example,
Mhm.
right? You got people scrambling right now
Oh,
o
dude.
with old P. Diddy getting busted, right? And the racket that dude was running and the blackmail he had on people, right? So who's at the end of the day, man, here's the part that kills me. Who's on the up and up and who's on the take? Who's got dirt on you? Who's manipulating? You saying this because if you don't, this is going to come out. I mean, it's bizarro world when you look at those people. And then it's even more bizarro world when you go, man, they've got this pedo appetite out there in Hollywood, yet no one's going to touch them because to me, I think they've all got dirt on each other, right? So, well, I got dirt on the DA because he's a dirty pedo, so he's not going to do anything. We'll just all keep our mouth shut and run whatever the party line that we're being told to do. But I don't care what any celebrity, they've got zero influence on me. I just wish the celebs from back in 2016 that said they were going to leave if Trump got elected, I just wish they would leave, right?
We have some more, don't we? Don't we have some more people saying that?
Oh God, there's all kinds of boatload, but they never leave, right?
No, De Niro
They
says it every time.
never leave. Now,
Robert
granted,
De
you
Niro
had
says it every time.
what's that?
Robert De Niro says it every time.
Dude, he just needs to go, right? But here's the thing: you have had since the P Diddy thing, you have had a
Oh
mass
boy.
exodus of a bunch of celebs,
Ooh.
and it's shocking because I don't know what our extradition is with Italy, but they all soon want to run to Italy. You had a couple run to China, right? Like you're like,
Really?
oh yeah.
Who ran to China?
Um. Oh,
Wow. That's a
I
big
think it
move.
was. Don't quote me on it. I could have my names messed up. I think it was old Jay Z and Beyonce ran to freaking
Really?
China. Oh yeah.
Well, she made an appearance
Supposedly,
she made an appearance in Pennsylvania or something the other day, didn't she?
yeah, but this was here recently, I believe, or I think he
Damn.
bolted. She was going to go catch up, but she was supposed to go out there at like a Kamala rally, I think, but then never
Dude.
performed. And then people were banned.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I mean,
saw that.
it's just bizarro world, right? Like, are you having
Yeah.
a rally or are you having a freaking concert? Um,
That that's a great topic that I know I wanted to kind of get into because I think some folks in the 2020 election cycle, I think some folks can realize that Donald Trump, there were some errors there that could have been corrected. And
mhm.
my question to you is I think this old school press the flesh, shaking hands, dude, they are on it this time. And the big push that I see is when, dude, he likes being with the people anyway. You can tell it's so
Mhm.
authentic that you can see it right off your TV screen. As soon as Biden said garbage, as soon as he said that, they were on the phone getting a garbage truck, and my man was in it less than what, 18 hours doing
Yeah,
a speech.
yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I think anybody can appreciate as being just flat out genius.
Well, it's
Another
that.
thing, Yeah, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
buddy. I want you to
No,
hear.
I'll let
I
you
want to
go
hear your
first.
comment on it. Well, the other thing is some of the appearances, the debates were minimal this year.
Mhm,
So once Kamala, had a pretty good showing. To be fair to her, with the moderators, completely biased, but they have no legitimacy whatsoever. Some of
mhm.
these news organizations, but they didn't push it too bad, but they wanted another one because they still don't think they did as well as they should. So Trump didn't have those gaffes where, he'd come off rude or come off arrogant and that kind of stuff. Those things don't bother me. Right is right.
Mhm.
It would have been nice to see those events again. Do you think there should have been more debates, or do you think the type of campaign that we're seeing now in this climate where she's pretty much absentee was the better choice? Because they could have pushed for something else with both of them on the
Well,
stage again.
so I'm gonna go to the garbage truck first, then I'm gonna circle back to the debates. Um,
Okay.
the garbage truck, here's the thing. You have Trump, who, yes, is a billionaire, but he's very much, um, in touch with the American people. And, getting in that garbage truck, slapping the big old Trump sign on there, going to do that.
Genius.
But really the clip, you didn't see a whole bunch from that. To me, the clip that should have just shown everyone how true this man is was when he was working at McDonald's and that couple pulls up.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, Mr. President, we're just ordinary people." And dude, he is, when I tell you he is sincere. Oh no, you're not just ordinary, right? That to me just showed the genuineness of who this guy is, right? He just wants success, prosperity, health for every single American, right? Just a down to earth person. Now, as far as the debates, I would love to have seen a couple more debates, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But here's the problem. After the last one, and I think you brought it up on Rogan, it was 3 against 1. So he's trying to
Yes.
halfway, yeah, he's trying to debate her, but he's got, the moderators only fact checking him. And he's like, I was trying to be kind. So somewhere like he's had a slight shift of where he's not so abrasive, right? Trying to be a little more refined. Um, and I think that's part just some lessons from 2020,
Yes.
which
Yes.
which I'm perfectly good with. Right now, he still gets his jab in because he still called Biden Brandon at the
Mhm.
it there. I don't know what jab he got in, an old comrade, but um, when I watched that debate, she was just regurgitating the lines that she knew, is as almost if somebody had told her what to say, and here's what I'm going to speak for the next 2 minutes, right? Um, so, and I'll do a quick shout out to old Chris. Just saw him on there. God bless you too, brother, man. Great day. Hopefully you got out there and voted. But the point being is, I love seeing the debates, but I think at this point they were, unless you got somebody like Fox, and I think Fox was supposed to be one of the next
Yeah.
moderators. Why that didn't happen, I don't know, right?
No.
But you just watch it, and it was just even the one he did with Biden, right? It was just it wasn't him. It was just the moderators attacking him. So it
Yeah.
just goes to show that, I'm tired of the mainstream media going, oh, we're supposed to be the guardians of truth. Man, they're nothing but the guardians of lies.
Yeah.
Um, censorship, putting their twist on stuff. Dude, you're unbiased. The news
Yeah.
is the news. This is what happened, right? Granted, some things might need some digging, do some looking, but it's gotten to a point where mainstream media, dude, they're dead. They're dead to me. I care
Yeah.
less for any of them. Um,
Yeah.
it's the independent news outlets. That's where the money's made.
Yeah, I want to get into that, but just to close out the debates thing, even Donald Trump said that we need debates. I agree,
Well,
but
yeah.
they haven't been what they're traditionally for, to hear what everybody's policies or plans or issues they have with the current administration and whatever, and what they're going to do to change it. I
Mhm.
totally agree, but that's not what they've become, unfortunately, because of the media. So let's pivot into the media, because we've talked about this. I know we talked about this on our last OTR when we discussed the debate or the election. And we also talked about this on Words of Wisdom and a 30-minute mark. The alternative media,
Mhm.
Joe Rogan,
Mhm.
even the Daily Wire, the ones that are subscription based, and Outkick did a good job. All these things, there's no way that anybody can get the reach that these folks are getting. Rogan has hundreds of millions of downloads a week. The fact that Kamala Harris isn't taking advantage of that now, she went on Shannon Sharp's show and she went on some other girls' podcast. That's a big podcast. Shannon Sharp had a good showing. He really
Mhm.
did, but it's not Joe Rogan.
No.
It's not Joe Rogan. The fact that she's not doing that,
What
everybody
she
knows who's ever watched any Joe Rogan show knows that he's polite, he's respectful. He would never do anything to try to embarrass her.
Nope. She would embarrass
Why
herself.
wouldn't she go on those things? Why wouldn't she go on those things? And the reason is, you brought up earlier, incapable.
Yeah. She can't make decisions. So she was very well polished at the debate because
Mhm.
rumors speculating, she got the questions beforehand, right? Like she could words, or she could speak those 2 minutes, but can't articulate any other facts. The mainstream media is done, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's funny. I think I was watching Newsmax this morning. You know what? We got some prayers going on. We got some Bible verses going on. Bring it, right? All about it. Speaking the truth. Your ABC, NBC, CBS, here's the thing. They get a free license to broadcast, right? They pay nothing to basically put that propaganda out there. Personally, I'd like to see in 2025, be done with them. Shut them all off, because you want to sit there and spew lies, no problem, done. It's not even, there's one thing to have your opinion, but when you're a journalist, you're supposed to be reporting the facts as best as you know them. Now, granted, they're going to change, right? Things are going to adjust and pivot along the way. But at the end of the day, all these, Washington Post, New York Times, they're all just trash under the Dems' control. So, and people are seeing that. That when it comes to the whole mainstream stuff, man, I think they're done this year. I honestly do. I think you're going to see people looking at podcasts. Now, the only thing with podcasts, unless you're broadcasting live, are you going to get necessarily what's happening right now?
No.
That's going to be your only disconnect. Right. So if something's happened right now, some boat drives into a bridge, you might not know till later on tonight, maybe tomorrow, right? Depending how quick someone can do a show, broadcast it out there. But as far as your general,
I do think that some of these shows are going to evolve into being able to do that. I do think that some of these folks are going to start doing those type of things. Sometimes they break in on some stuff, but I really believe they're going to start evolving into providing that type of service, whether that's through the subscribers getting blasts on email, say, hey, we're going live, and that's how they gain their audience to let them know that they're doing it. They can do it right there on their phone. Yeah. Those kind of things I think are going to start evolve, but good point on that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only con that I see, whether it's, from the podcasting side. Now, I think your smaller news outlets, dude, I think you're going to see more people shift towards them. I just want the truth, man. I don't tell me lies. Don't tell me Russia collusion. Don't tell me this, right? Just, hey man, here's the facts. A judge says, hey, the state of Virginia has to allow these questionable individuals to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I know Sky News comes to mind. The Young Turks, even though they're left leaning, I mean, I think they're pretty honest. I mean, he's Sink or Jink, I think his name is. He's definitely left leaning, and Anna, but I do think they're honest. I think they say some honest stuff. I really do.
That's all we need. I don't care.
That's all we
I don't
need.
care if you're left, right, center. I really don't. You got to be honest, and you can't put your twist, right? So you can't say, that Trump's a fascist. Where's the proof? Trump's a racist. Where's the proof? Now you got some proof to prove it. Okay, cool. Right?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's see it. It's kind of like the felony convictions. He's got 34 felony convictions. I don't even know what the convictions are. I don't even know what the crime was, right?
My man's a gangster, dude.
Gangster. What are you guilty of? I don't know, but I got 34.
34 felonies, bro.
Yeah. But nobody can tell you what they are. But that's all we're looking. That's all we're looking for this day and age is just the truth. You look at the Watergate scandal, prime example, right? Reporters are what busted that thing wide open. Why are we not doing that anymore? What happened to that good old deep digging journalism? What happened to reporters going to jail for their sources because they weren't going to give them up, right? Gone, dead. So
just the facts, man. Just give me some facts. Leave it at that.
Yeah,
you don't even get that anymore.
You get the narrative. Like, I've yet to figure out who the propaganda puppet master is, right? Because they're all spewing the same message. So, it was no different.
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And not even talking about the campaign, even though this is an election campaign / election 2024 show. We all know that Kamala Harris is not in charge of nothing. She's campaigning. That's the only thing she's focused on. And I get that. Okay. There's a sitting president. It is impossible that Joe Biden is in charge of anything. He's not doing nothing. So who is running this country right now? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows.
It's not her.
No.
Right? She
it's
can't
not neither one of them.
Even though she'll tell you she's the last person in the room. But the whole point is, where are the media back in the day reporting the truth for what it was, so that they were basically the kind of unwritten checks and balance of the government? It's just not there anymore, or it's so skewed one way. Here you got the mainstream media going, like during COVID, oh, it's the unvaccinated that's the problem. The unvaccinated.
Right.
Whoa. But your argument is my body, my choice when it comes to abortion, but not for taking poison, right? Like all these things don't. You can just step back and go, there's too much agenda being pushed for something. And I think the American people I think they've seen it, right? I think there's too many things happening. There's too many whistleblowers accidentally getting killed that people aren't starting to raise an eyebrow to go, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I think your journalists are walking that fine line to go, well, let's say somebody were to freaking bust open a Watergate. Let's say somebody had the smoking gun. Oh, even though we know Biden's freaking guilty of freaking treason against this country with all the money he's taken in. But if somebody would come out and lay it out on a silver platter, let there be no doubt, here's all that. Are they going to be around tomorrow? I don't know, because these whistleblowers seem to be magically vanishing once they initially blow the whistle.
Yeah. And I think everybody else is believing or suspecting, at least by now, if they've tuned in to any alternative method of information, the internet, podcast, whatever, that you flip it on to CNN, it's an absolute joke. The level of talent that they're getting now is.
But I'm going to pause.
Brian, go ahead.
I'm going to pause you, Mark. You're starting to see CNN is starting to make that shift, right? Where now they're going, oh, hey, maybe Trump wasn't wrong. Hey, maybe Kamala isn't as good, right? Like you're starting to see that shift, and it's a weird dynamic when you watch them cast. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying you'll see that slight shift of the needle in there to go, interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely true. And you bring it up. You look at the Washington Post. The Washington Post didn't endorse a lot of these newspapers, who traditionally endorse a president, which I don't know when that started, but they should be unbiased. They should, just report on
Shouldn't
the
shouldn't
election.
matter.
They
Yeah.
shouldn't pick somebody.
Nope.
Who's the guy? You just said his name. The guy who owns Amazon, who owns Washington Post. He basically said, "Look, we're not endorsing anybody.
Mhm.
We're not endorsing anybody. There's a big problem with the trust in the media, and that's just the way it is." He had a bunch of people leave. 200,000 subscribers left the Washington Post. What's that tell you? It's a fan club or a echo chamber.
Mhm.
Oh, you're not gonna endorse our girl. Well, then I'm not going to give you my money. They're not doing that because they're looking for unbiased news. They're looking for someone to tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And you are starting to see that shift. You are starting to
Yeah.
see it.
And I think you're going to see it more and more where either these mainstream medias get on board to going back to old school, or they're going to be done, man.
Yeah, to survive, they're going to have to. They're going to have to do something. They brought back. Remember, we used to have a lot of fun with that Brian Stetler or whatever. Was he MSNBC or was he CNN? Anyway, they brought him back. They
Mhm.
brought him back with like a 60% cut of
Yeah.
his typical salary because he had his own page. It didn't work. But hey, that guy, I'm going to say there's been a few times where I've called out right is right, where he was honest and
Mhm.
he said some truths. Maybe that's why they're bringing him back. I don't know. Maybe he went to them and said, "Hey man, I'm not down with this. This isn't work," or he tried to tell them that this isn't working. Anyway, he's back. The
Yeah.
talent level is just in the tubes. It's terrible. To all due respect to folks out there just working in those networks trying to do a good job.
Mhm.
All due respect to them, but it's a fact. It's terrible. It's terrible TV. All right. We've been going at it for an hour now. It's been a great show. I hope everybody's enjoying it. Jump in on the chat. We got people in there commenting. The one thing I want to talk about is a little bit of prediction. A little bit of prediction. We still got some time. I don't know overall what's going to happen, but I am very curious for us to kind of throw out there what we think is going to happen in some of these swing states. Now, I know people can say, well, Mark, if you pick Pennsylvania, well, then you think that Trump's going to win. Okay, I get it. But there's a couple of states out there that I'm really curious about what you think is going to happen. I have my ideas on it. Let's start with Nevada. I think Arizona is going to go to Trump because the numbers are showing that. What do you think about Nevada?
I'm going to make it easy. You're going to see a runaway Trump. Trump? That's my opinion.
Runaway Trump on all the swing states?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's be clear. So
Yep.
who are you including in your swing states? And I know there's 7 that they were talking about. Minnesota, Wisconsin,
Yep.
Michigan,
Yep.
Pennsylvania. I
Yep.
think they said North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yep.
Nevada.
Yep. And Arizona.
And Arizona. Okay.
Yep.
Let me throw another one in there.
Sure.
What do you think is going to happen in Virginia? Now, Virginia, they have that Youngkin character who I think is doing a bang up job, but they also elected didn't they elect a Democratic? Youngkin's the governor, right? Or is he the
Yep.
senator?
No,
No, he's the governor, and
Yep.
they elected a Democratic lieutenant governor or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the Commonwealth of Virginia?
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to be shocked. Where here's the problem with the southern states, right? Is you still have your quote unquote Southern Democrats, right? So you still got some people that's punching that Democratic ticket. I think you're going to see Virginia go red.
Is that because the old school Democrats, the party of Bill Clinton, you're thinking those are the cats that are going to flip for Trump? Or do you think it's the new folks
It's
that are
both.
voting for the first time, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, it's across the board. You're going to see from 18 to 100. Because here's the bottom line, Mark, right? At the end of the day, say what you want. People are hurting financially.
Yeah.
People are at a point to go, can I sustain another
Yes.
4
That's
years
the
of
question.
this?
Right.
Right. I think at the end of the day, regardless what you want, ladies, you can say what you want about abortion. I don't buy it. Right. At the end of the day, do I have enough gas to go to the grocery store, go out and cast my vote, go pick up my kids from school, and maybe if we're lucky, drive down to the park so they can swing in the freaking playground? Right. I don't know.
And be safe. And be
A-
safe.
And be right. Because God
Yeah.
knows you got illegals all over. And if you're not strapped and trained with whatever firearm you're carrying, shame on you. There's no way, if you're an American in this country, you should not be armed. Now, granted, if you're a felon, sorry, dude, you lost that right. So you can go have some illegal freaking stick you. But at the end of the day, sorry, dude. Guess what goes around comes around. But anyway,
Oh, that's
um,
good.
but here's my point. I think you're going to see a blowout. I'm predicting you might even see California flip. Right?
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. The ones that are talking all this smack, dude, you're so far left and dumb. I guess you're eating government cheese or whatever. But those of us average Americans that no kidding.
Look what Chris Walker said about California. Oh, Chris, he's like, come on.
Hey, man, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Great comment, Chris. Thanks, buddy.
Here's the thing. I've been to California numerous times.
Great Americans out there. Love them.
Right?
Yeah.
Great freaking. It's a great state. The politics is what's sinking them. Now, granted, you look at San Francisco, LA. That puts a lot of weight. But at the end of the day, man, your average citizens, they know they're freaking hurting, dude. Oh. California even more. Newsom's got that state so freaking upside down. I don't even know what their gas prices are, $5-6 a gallon, whatever. Dude, I was out there. What was it? 21. I think prices were like almost $8 for a gallon of gas. But I think you're going to see
that, if not more.
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a big flip, right? Because at the end of the day, dude, if you're diehard to a title, i.e. Republican or Democrat, shame on you. I think people are going to vote with their pocketbooks, and they're going to go, damn, dude, we're hurting, and we're hurting bad. Yeah. That's my prediction.
Yep. Well, I think you and I are both clear on this. I don't care who you're voting for. Go out there and vote. Go out there and vote. This is a special thing that not a lot of countries and areas of the world are able to do. So go take advantage of it. Make sure you go out there and vote. And you're still Americans. We still love you. When it comes to, I can't side with you on the California thing. Maybe the turnout isn't quite as strong against Trump. And I think that you are right that there are going to be a lot of folks that are going to vote for him in that state. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time. I think Virginia is a possibility. And the reason I say that is because a guy like Youngkin can get elected. Mm-hmm. They're being smart about it in the Commonwealth over there. And I like to believe that they're very informed voters. Most people are, and that is a possibility. I'm struggling a little bit with Michigan and Pennsylvania. I can't figure out Pennsylvania, Michigan.
So I'm going to pause you with Pennsylvania. Here's the thing with Pennsylvania, right? You've got the Steelworkers Union, right? So the union bosses endorsing old comrade, but not the working folk, right?
No.
So granted, you can have the head of the snake, let's say one or two going, yep, that's our vote. But the whole body and the tail saying, no way, girlfriend, not today. Right. So So I think that's where things get skewed. I think at the end of the day, there is no way that when people go out to vote, that you can't sit there and go, are my dollars getting me the same value as 4 years ago? There's no way.
Yeah. No,
Because
it's a hard no.
yeah. And if you
It's a
vote
hard
any other
no.
way, I mean, you have to sit there, you know, people hate Trump because Trump has been basically thrown around the media as this devil, right? They've painted that picture. And granted, when he was in, him throwing out his tweets and doing his stuff, but look at what he got done, right? The people have had 4 years of getting smashed. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be, where are we sitting at financially? Short of you being in political office, you're not sitting any better, man.
No.
You know,
No.
the average American people are hurting. The average American people can't go buy a new home because of interest rates they can't afford, or they're stuck in the home
Yeah.
they're in. Or if you've got that small family that's got kids and they need to go expand, they can't do it, right? The dollars aren't there. And Mark, I'm telling you, I personally believe at the end of the day, regardless what all these people throw out there for garbage, right? Like they try to say that abortion's up there. Abortion's not an issue. At the end of the day, where your finances are and your safety and security, those are the two primary things that people are going to look at. You know, and especially if you've been around a city, town, whatever, that's experienced that violence from the illegals, dude, it's going to throw you, you know, to vote for Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't necessarily think we're going to swing anybody's vote, but I think if I had to say just a couple of things about some of the endorsements, the celebrities and the heads of the Teamsters, but the Teamsters union vote, they're recommending Trump.
Mhm.
If you're going to pay attention to the things that the people who are endorsing Kamala Harris,
Mhm.
you need to look at the people who aren't, who traditionally do. Teamsters. Why, if she's doing such a bang up job in the border and in immigration's not that big of an issue, then why are the border agents unions not backing the current administration? Why? You got to ask yourself that. There's got to be a reason.
not performing.
If they're not performing, they're not being honest with you.
Yeah.
And if you truly believe that she is going to have a plan to get this inflation under control and try to force big business. These grocery stores are working on razor thin margins. It takes a lot of people to touch a green bean before that can makes it to the grocery store. They're not making any money on those individual purchases. Remember that. A lot of people are getting paid to do that stuff. It costs a lot of money to run those things. You're going to start seeing all these businesses, small businesses, especially that you've been used to, they're going to close. They're not going to be able to sustain it. All that free money is going to be gone. There's just a lot of things that are going to continue to get worse because she does not have a plan. They are, number one, not going to stop paying for what they're already paying for that they can't afford. And they're going to spend even more. They're going to say they're going to give you money, and they might give you money, but that money's going to be gone. And now it's going to add to the inflation. These are facts.
Yeah. Go ask the North Carolinians how much money they got. Right.
Yep.
So you'll sit there and hand all these handouts to illegals, give them free plane tickets, all this other stuff, give them their transgender, I'm mentally confused freaking sex changes. Right. But you can't even help out your own citizens. Piss on you. Right. That's the proof right there. If you want nothing else, look at Western North Carolina and what's happened there. The U.S. government's response, FEMA trying to interfere with fellow Americans trying to help out each other, right? Governor Cooper not even showing up. Great job there, Coop. Worthless. At the end of the day, brother, here's the bottom line. Even though all the propaganda, yeah, some people are going to buy it, right? You got your old, Trump deranged syndrome. You got some people, you're never going to fix them. It's just not going to happen. But at the end of the day, my gut is telling me the majority of Americans know where they're at, and they're not in a good place. They don't feel safe. They don't have enough, money in their wallet to pay the bills, and they're squeaking by, if they're even squeaking by. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, I don't think there are, quote, any swing states. I think they've already swung. Right.
It's
think
going to
you're
be
gonna
interesting.
I think you're going to be surprised. Right. If you want to say, here's my swings are California and New York. Those are my swings. Okay. I think he's going to swing them. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, they're dead to me. Right. Those worthless savages. But I honestly, those are, when we talk about swing states, in Rick's opinion, those are my two swing states. I think he can swing those. I honestly do.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
Okay, let's go ahead and close this out with a quick question from the VIP of the chat, and I think this is a good question. On the range. All right, Chris Walker, who's been all over the chat. Really appreciate you being there, pal. What does a post-Trump win look like with the tons of what I call insurgents that he is going to inherit? Okay, that's a great question. Go ahead and go first, Rick, and then I will go second. And I guess he's talking about navigating if he wins and he has his administration back.
Well, he will get his administration back. So, Chris, love you, brother, and firmly believe. Here's what the post-Trump win is going to look like. Pretty much day one, you're going to see, just like I believe in 100%, drill, baby, drill, right? We're going to get that oil or that energy independence rolling to start. And then you're going to see the net be cast. Now, I don't want to let too many trade secrets out, but I think they might have a pretty good plan for how to put that net out there and start scooping these savages up and dumping them on the other side of the river, right? And I think you're going to see an expedited effort to get the wall jammed up. So I think that's got to be, the kind of priorities is, how do we get them out, scoop up all the insurgents, illegals. The ones that's going to be hard is the ones we don't know about. That's going to take the work. So there might have to be maybe some post-deporting interrogations, depending how they fit, where they fit at. We still got a Chinese plus division in this country we need to get rid of, where all them savages at. Get them out, and then to boot. But the 25 million people, that's a lot of savages, man. That's a lot of insurgents to play whack-a-mole with. I don't know that he can get it all done in his 4 years. Being 100% honest. That would just take a bunch. But then you have to get law enforcement as a whole on board across, right? This is where you got to be careful. You look at law enforcement doing a traffic stop, got an individual, get a foreign driver's license. I don't know. At what point do you detain? Do you hold? Do you do whatever to double check? Right? That's going to be the question, is how do we, what is that process going to look like? And that's going to be one hell of a freaking burden on the judicial system. But it's got to be something that I know there's smart people that can sit down and go, how do we make things happen? But none of it will happen if we don't get that respect back for the law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So, where's that fine line between, civil liberties and not making that violation? I don't know, man. Yeah. He's definitely in a tough spot with that, but I think he'll have smart people around him that can make the right decisions. But that's going to be 25 million, man. And then here's the other thing you got to look at. How do you rescue 380,000 kids? Right? So you can't
Yeah.
just look at the insurgents out there. You got to look at the kids, man, that are being trafficked. And God knows, dude, I feel for them kids because who knows what baggage they're going to have to deal with for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe Biden and Kamala.
I think, my take on this question is I think the first thing that you're going to have to do, it's just like anything else. If you see something wrong, you make sure it isn't continuing to happen. So
Mhm.
that's going to have to stop. And I think a lot of these things will be able to happen, to occur with just simply allowing the law enforcement to do their job. That's going to do a couple of things. I think it's going to solve those little small things, those pipelines of information, where to take individuals, how to process them.
Mhm.
Those cats, those men and women in uniform will figure that out, right?
Mhm.
They're going to want to make that happen. The second thing is it instills a sense of what Rick's talking about. They're proud of what they're doing. They know what they're doing. It's hard to be in a good state of mind and have solid motivation if you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's all going to be cleared up right away. But the first thing I think he's going to do is he's just going to open up, hey, follow the law, get that worked out. I'll start talking, with other folks about the policy, but just get that moving and stop the flood. Stop the
Mhm.
flood first so that it's not happening anymore. And then I think another thing too, if you get some good task forces together, multi-jurisdictional agency and state lines,
Mhm.
they're going to make an impact. But you're right, that is a tall task to do in 4 years. But you got to stop the bleeding
Oh,
before, don't
but
put no more harm. No more harm,
no.
right?
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to. That's first and foremost, right?
Yep.
Um, and I think you'll see it. I think you'll see that. I think you'll see. You know, when's inauguration? January, is it like
January.
20th? To the
I'm not
20th?
sure.
So whenever. I think you'll still see the influx, if not worse, up until inauguration, right?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
And
sure.
they'll probably just tell the border agents, "Hey, pull off." They'll
Yep.
probably make it as painful for him as they can.
Yep.
Um, so, but then you got to think he's got to get in there, swipe the executive order, shut the border down, lock it up, and that requires manpower. Like all this stuff is all manpower. Um, that's going to be the struggle when you got people that have been basically berated for 4+ years, if not more, depending on what state they're from. It's a tall pill to try to get anyone there. So
Yeah. All right, buddy. What a fun show.
yeah, buddy.
It's a pivotal moment, and we'll see what happens, man. It's definitely going to be interesting. Great conversation, great participation by, um, especially our crew members,
Oh yeah.
man. Love them guys and girls. Um, it's we'll see what's going to happen. I really don't know. I have some thoughts on it. We talked about it during the show, so I hope everybody enjoyed it. And we just need to keep. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to do another show or not. It's hard to say. It's a tense moment for me, but at the same time, dude, um, I have a lot of faith in Americans. I have a lot of faith in America. It's going to be a hell of a lot harder if it doesn't go the way I would like to see it. But I have a lot of faith in
I
them.
think it's gonna go the way we want. But regardless, like you said, Mark, at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
This country's gonna still keep going. We're still gonna
Yep.
keep doing what we do. We're still gonna be the best country in the world. Um, and that's it at the end of the day. But you just watch my predictions: swing state, California, New York. Those are my swing states,
Hey, I love your
right?
confidence, buddy.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Regardless, everybody, Americans, we love you. No matter who you're voting for, go out and vote and feel good about it. Feel good
yeah,
about
buddy.
it. You want to go ahead and close it out, buddy?
You know it, man. So I'm gonna do a little change. So
I
to all
like it.
my Americans out there, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless our troops. God bless the United States of America. You guys train hard, stay safe, and we'll see you at the ballot box.